here's for the upgraded lighting setup. So here's everything that you need. You're going to have 2 sets of these plates, 2 large plates, 2 small plates, and 2 of these long bags. These are the poles for the totems right here. You also have these 3 Chave DJ bags. So they're all the same size right here. So you know these are in the setup room. All 3 of them are the exact same bag, all say Chave DJ. And then the last component is the haze machine. You have the wireless DMX system that you need, and then you have the light sticks that you'll need. All right, to set up the totem, you have in each bag there are 4 poles. Okay, so on the pole, there are holes on each side. One of them, this is the bigger hole, this is the smaller hole. The smaller hole goes on the inside of the totem. The bigger hole goes to the outside corner of the totem. So big hole outside, faces the outside there, and it's going to line up with those holes right in the bottom there. Okay, next thing that you need, they're always stored in one of the pockets here on these bags. You have this bag. These are all the pegs that go in those holes that you're going to set up for the totem. You just take it outside to inside, just kind of push it through to line it up. Right like that. Okay. Once that's connected, you're going to take the top plate, put that on. Hole right here is going to go and face the back of the totem. Put that down, and again, you're going to grab 4 more and slide those in up top. Okay, totem is almost complete. Last thing that you'll see in the bag, depending upon which end you open, top or bottom, is going to be the scrim. So one fine important detail, there is a seam on one end. You want this seam on the back side of the totem. Make sure the seam is not front and center on the totem. Just take it over the top. And you don't want to pull it all the way down yet. That's going to be the last step that you do. But you want it on before you start putting any lights on. So right like that. Okay, next step, we're going to start adding lights. So first thing, there are 2 moving headlights on the bottom. Take off the wing nuts, take it, and this screw right here is going to go through the center hole of the totem top plate, right like that. So the screw's down here. You want to make sure the back of where the power and the controls are and all the plugins, this is the back side of the light right there. You're going to take that, push down on the top of the bolt with your other hand, and then you're going to screw that on. Okay, next part is the laser. So, laser here, very simple. You want to go on the outside of the totem. So if this is the outside edge of the light, then you want the laser on the front outside pole. If this was the outside of the light, then you would want the laser on this pole. And you're going to slide this all the way as high as you can. Tighten down the wing nut. And we're going to set up angles later, but you want this generally all the way to the side, pointing straight out. We'll go over lining up the lights here at the end. Once you have these 2 lights on, we're going to connect power next. So in the bags, you have all the power cables There is a total of 3 different power cables for each totem. This kind is used for the laser. This kind is your locking power cable. This is for the moving headlight. So, blue cable goes right in the blue hole, right there. Goes in, and then you turn, and you'll hear it click like that, okay? You take those cables, and this is why we put the hole of the totem top plate back here, so that we can slide these cables down and in. Actually, first, these are a little long. We're gonna wrap them. Wrap around the top. Now we're gonna slide them in. White extension cable. These are the stick lights for the totems. So we have 4, you only need 2. Now, important here, these sync, I have them all labeled here. You always wanna grab 1 and 2 for these. So just look at the label, make sure you grab 1 and 2. Grab the stick. The base for these is in this long pocket here. You pull out the base, and it just screws onto the bottom. And then all you need to do, these are battery powered. You don't want to turn this on until reception starts. Once you're ready for that, you just turn it on right like that. And they are full sound activated. Set that right in the center. You're gonna now take your scrim, pull it up. Most important part with the scrim here is that this elastic edge, you want to go over these pins. That's gonna help hold those pins in. And you want it up over the lip of the top plate as well. Over here gets a little funky because of the laser light. Do your best to just pull that scrim up and over that corner there. Okay, and then you just take it, pull it all the way down, and again, want to make sure you pull that scrim over the lip of these pins down here. Pull a little bit on it. There you go. Okay, totem's all done. Only thing you have left to do is plug it in, and then there is a power button on the moving head, but that's it. So you just want to make sure that the moving head is on, and then the last step will be to plug in your wireless DMX controls. All right, so this is our wireless DMX system. Super simple. These are set in a charger base right next to where the microphone batteries charge in the DJ setup room. You have 2 different types, black tip, silver tip. Your black tip is the transmitter. That is what's sending signal. The silver tip is what is receiving the signal, okay? So black tip is always the one that is first in the setup. So on the bottom here, you have 2 simple controls. You have an on and off switch, and you have a menu button. So first thing you're gonna do is pop that on, and you're gonna look at this light setup here. Green means on, it's charged, it's ready to go. Your 3 lights here is your combination of lights that determine the signal and making sure that you are synced up in the right system. So on your receiver, when you turn that on, you want to make sure that they have the same number of amber lights set up. If they do not have the same number, then you're just going to push the menu button over and over until you get the same combo of amber lights. Doesn't matter what the combination is, just needs to be the same. Now, if you have 2 different systems, like our upgraded lighting package, you're going to have 2 transmitters and 2 receivers. They need to be on different amber light sequences. So if this one is on 3, then this one needs to be on anything but 3. So this one's on 2, that's fine. So we're going to turn this one on, and we're going to hit the menu button until we just get those first 2 lights again. And now we have 2 different wireless transmitters and receivers on 2 different signals. You're good to go. If you are doing the cold spark machines, you are going to have 1 transmitter and you are going to have 4 receivers. The transmitter is going to go into your DMX control board, that blue board with the switches that move up and down. This goes into the back of that, and then your 4 receivers will go into each of the backs of the 4 Cold Spark machines. And again, in that scenario, they would all be on the same amber light sequence. Okay, last step of setting up the upgraded lighting system is you have to make sure that you have one totem that is set as your master and the second totem that is set as your slave. The only light that actually matters on is the laser light. So to know which one is your master, which one's your slave, is if you come to the back of the laser here, SOU means it is on sound mode. And so anytime you hit this, the mic or hear sound, that is your master unit. Okay, so your master unit gets the one with the black tip as your transmitter. This is the one sending signal. And again, make sure your amber lights line up. So we're gonna plug, this is the transmitter, and it is going to go into your DMX out. Because again, you are sending signal. Push that all the way in. That is now sending signal to your second wireless DMX mode. So your second laser light here, this is the slave unit, SLA for slave. So this is the one receiving signal. So you take the corresponding receiver and you're gonna plug that into your DMX in right here. That is now going to link up this laser to that laser. Whatever your master laser does, this one is going to follow and do the exact same. Now we're going to repeat the process with the moving heads. The moving heads, you do not have to set up a master and slave. They are already in sound mode. No other configuration you need to do. Once you plug these in, it automatically defaults to a master and slave. So again, the one that is sending signal, we're going to put in first. This is our DMX out. And then you're going to take the receiver and you're going to plug the receiver into the DMX in on that one. These lights are 100% ready to go. Nothing that you need to do on them. What I do recommend is unplugging them until open dance starts. You do not want moving heads and lasers firing off during first dances and speeches and stuff like that. So unplug them until open dance starts. The last tip that I have for you is to determine which one should be your master totem, which one should be your slave totem. Your master totem, you want set up as close as you can to your audio source for music because you want to make sure the mics on those lights are as close to the sound source as possible. That's going to get a better sound input and make the lights better reactive. Other than that, you're good to go. So last step on positioning the lasers for the upgraded lighting. Number one, you want to make sure that these are not getting in any guest eyes. So if they're sitting across from the lasers or something like that, you want the beam to stay above head level across the dance floor. So you don't want these to be tilted too far down to where they're actually hitting the ground. You want to look to where the laser beam is being cast and make sure it's on the wall in the back. So on the wall in the back, you can see the beams and the lasers on the wall. Again, that's where you want them to be projecting to. You don't want the laser down on the ground. You want it up on the wall like that. The other big key that you want to make sure of is that the beams are crossing across the dance floor. So this beam is projecting diagonally across the dance floor, and the other one is doing the same thing, projecting diagonally across the dance floor to the other side as well. Last step of the upgraded lights is the haze machine. So the haze machine, a little different than a fog machine. It's a very slow leak of fog as opposed to a big geyser of fog that comes out with the fog machine. Haze is basically continuously just releasing a little bit of that fog at a time. These are the controls for it, power and the control box. These are usually located right in the back of the haze machine here. This pops up. This is your fluid container. Right down here is where the control box goes. This will take a while to heat up, but you can plug it in and then just leave it on. You're good to go. When possible, you want this fairly close to your lights. So for example, if we were using just this regular T-bar with the haze machine, this haze machine right at the base of the T-bar is a good place to go. If you have it with the upgraded lighting, you usually want it somewhere in the middle of the two totems if possible. Not always possible. If possible, next to the two totems, set it next to one or the other if that's the best that you can do. Take the haze machine, just sits on the ground, very simple. Control cable plugs into the back. There's only one place. It's a 5-pin connection. It's very unique. Can't accidentally plug it into the wrong place. It also says remote. Right in here is where the haze will come out. Very important. This little nozzle right here is a heat source. That will burn the crap out of you if you touch it. Also a reason why you don't really want this haze set out somewhere that potentially a little kid could get to it or something like that as well. You want to try and keep this back somewhere safe near you so that you can keep an eye on this. This will control your flow of the haze. If it's sitting on the ground like we normally have it, you're going to want this flap extended upward. Here is your control right here. Most important with haze, we want to make sure that there's enough to where it's giving the effect to the lights that we want, but not enough to where it's going to destroy photographers' pictures either. The best way to achieve this is by having high output sessions followed by low output sessions, so that sometimes the light effect is super intense, but photographers can't shoot in super intense haze. Let that go for a few songs, communicate that to the photographers, then back it off as well, and go through that throughout the night. This control is going to help you do that. So you have a timer section, you have a continuous section, you have a manual section. If it's a section to where you want to blow the haze at full output, just hit your continuous button and let that haze go. Let it go for a minute or two. It doesn't take long. Then turn it off. Let it go a few songs. That amount of haze for a minute is going to fill up the room very quickly. A minute, 2 minutes tops is all you need to run it for at continuous before you back it off and let it go for a while. Make sure photographers get their pictures, things like that. Communicate to them ahead of time. Okay, it's going to be a high haze output moment again. Go ahead, hit continuous button, and let it flow.